the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
So okay guys, let's create a WPF app and fill out the project properties. Let's run the application once to inspect the size of the window. Okay, now let's select the window and go to the properties panel and change the height and width of the window. Also check the allowed transparency checkbox and the resize mode to no resize, and the window startup location to center screen. Now let's run the application and verify the progress. Okay, now let's start adding the UI elements. So let's first select the grid and go to the layouts panel and select the stack panel and add it to the grid. Now let's change the color of the stack panel background color to a gradient, linear gradient, and also change the orientation of the gradient by selecting the gradient tool and using the mouse to change the direction of the linear gradient. Okay. Next, select the stack panel and add a grid on top of it. Resize the grid. Let's resize the stack panel, and now let's select the grid that is inside the stack panel and add an image on top of that grid. Now I am going to go to the source of the image and select the hamburger menu icon and change the width and height to 30 pixels. Okay. Now let's duplicate the grid and set a margin, top margin to 20 or 10, and select a different image. Here I'm selecting a category icon and increasing the grid size. Now I'll make copies of the image added inside the grid. Okay, now that we are done duplicating the images, let's set those image source with different icons. Here I'm just speeding up the process of setting the source. So there you go, we are all done setting the image source for the various icons that we've added. Now let's add some more images below the first grid. We have added 2 more grids below the second grid, and we have set the icons source for them as well. Okay, now let's select all the icons that are there in the second grid and resize them by changing its width and height and position them in the center of the panel. Okay, repeat the same process for the other 3 icons. And also reposition them. Now that our icons are ready, let's select the stack panel and increase its width, and let's add some titles to the icons added. Before that, let's select the first grid and add an icon, or let's add an image. So we'll make use of the ellipse tool and to the ellipse tool, we will add a background image. Here I got the default background image because I have done this process earlier. So WPF has automatically loaded the background image for me, but you will have to go to the background panel and change the image source. And also next I will add a text panel, text block here next to the image, and give it a name or fill the content of the text block and resize it. Now I'll select the second grid and copy the first text block from the first grid and make copies of it in the second grid. Add the appropriate names for the icons that you have added and style it accordingly. So let's copy the first text block and the icon next to it, the plus icon, and paste it in the other three grids, and change the title as well. Okay, we are done with the panel now. So let's resize the stack panel and hide the profile icon. So let's resize the grid as well. We will animate this at the end of the video. So let's hide the profile image as well and resize the stack panel. Okay, now that we are done with this, let's add the other UI elements on the window. Now let's select the main stack panel and add another stack panel into it, and to the main stack panel we'll change the orientation to horizontal so that the elements are stacked next to each other. And now let's resize the newly added stack panel and change its background fill to light gray. Let's copy the grid from the first stack panel and paste it into the second stack panel. And change the width to auto. Here I'm setting the width of the grid to 250 and the width of the stack panel to auto, so that it automatically sets its width and height based on the content that it has. So let's add one more stack panel to the main stack panel, and let's repeat the same process that we did to the second stack panel by copying the grid from the first stack panel and pasting it into this one. Okay, so as you can see that the stack panels are working as expected. Okay, now it's time to add the UI controls on top of it. So these two panels are just these two newly added panels. The content that I'm adding on top of it is just for a demo purpose. They do not have any actual use in this particular video, but yes, you can populate these UI controls from various sources. You can add list boxes and populate them with the data from the database or other various data sources. So here I'm adding a title, a tab name, so this tab name here I'm just writing it as a tab name, but yes, you can populate this programmatically based on the tab, the category that has been selected from the side panel. And yes, I am adding a refresh icon next to it. Now I'll make a copy of that, and before that, let's increase the grid size and make a copy of the text block that I've added. And here I'm displaying how many total nodes I have. So this count can also be dynamically read from the database. Okay, now sorry that I copied the content, but I had to copy the icon, and let's resize the icon that I've copied just now and fill it with different icons like filter, tags, and a menu icon. So these icons can be connected to the different functions that you want. So the filter icon can filter the nodes that you have, and tags can help you search on various tags that you have on the nodes. Now let's add a text block. A text box. This text box is appearing at the bottom because it's not included in the grid, so I have just moved it inside the grid, and now I am repositioning it. I will go to the layout and set the vertical content alignment to center, and I'll increase the font size and also the padding to 10 pixels. Okay. Also, let's change the fore color to a dark gray. And decrease the font size of the tab name and the image icon that was next to it also. Let's also decrease the font size of other elements that were on the screen. Now let's start with the other elements. Let's resize the text box, add a rectangle below the text box. Here you can see again WPF has loaded it with a default image. I will go to the background and change it to a solid white fill, and round the edges and move the text box inside the rectangle. Here you cannot see the text box because the rectangle is on top of it. So I have changed the order of the controls and resize the text box, and I'll make the copy of the image icon that I have and change it to a search icon. Now this search icon can be later be modified to add an event to it. so that you can search the various notes that you will be populated in the below list box. Now here I am not making use of the list box control or any data control, but just I am demonstrating it by using a simple rectangle and adding adding controls to that rectangle. Here I have made use of a grid, and I'll draw a ellipse inside this, which will indicate which what category of note it is. But all these things will be in real time will be loaded from the data base, and all this will be done programmatically. This is just a mock-up design. The main intention of this video is to show how you can make use of the storyboard to animate the side panel and its contents. So next we will make copies of the grid that we created and paste it on the second stack panel, and update it with a different content. Again, this is just for a template purpose, but always the data will be gathered from the database or other different various data sources. Next, I'll make use of a button control and add a button below the search text box and change the content to add notes. So this will trigger the add notes feature. Just let's resize the contents and replace the button. Next, we shall add one more stack panel next to the second stack panel. The last stack panel, and we have copied the grid from the second stack panel, and we are just repositioning some of the contents and changing the size of the content. Now let's delete this text and add a placeholder text instead of it. Okay, I guess we are done designing the application. Let's run the application once to see how it looks. Okay, now let's start animating the application. So let's start by minimizing the side panel and adding a storyboard, and on the first keyframe let's record the initial position of the contents. So let's, on the first keyframe, hide the hamburger menu, and on the second keyframe make the profile image visible, and on the third keyframe, increase the size of the side panel by going to the properties panel and changing its width to 280. So there you go. So let's run this animation once. Works perfectly fine. Now let's add a trigger to this animation. So the trigger will be on click of the hamburger menu icon. So let's select the hamburger menu icon, and on mouse down, the storyboard one will begin. So let's run the application and click on the hamburger menu, and there you go. The animation works fine. Now let's add one more storyboard. So to begin with that second storyboard, let's start from where we left off in the first storyboard. So let's increase the side panel size. So on the first keyframe, let's increase the side panel size to 280 and make the profile image visible and the hamburger menu hidden. And on the second keyframe, increase the size of the grid. Let's reposition the keyframe, and let's set the trigger on click of the plus icon, and let's run the application. So there you go, guys. Our notes application is ready. Hope you all liked watching this video. If you do, let's please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.